Today, we're going to talk about 3 steps you can take right now to pay off your credit cards in 2026, or at least make some good progress toward paying off those cards. If you're new here, welcome. You can call me E, and my channel is The Sheet Keeper. My company is Sheet Keeper Academy. I'm a CFEI, or Certified Financial Education Instructor, and ABFP, which is Accredited Behavioral Finance Professional. And what that means to you is that I'm here to help you, not with financial planning and investments, but with the behaviors that are associated with spending too much money, with accumulating credit card debt, or learning systems for paying off that debt, for saving more money. Really, all of the things that help you to be financially literate and financially able to get to that point where you're working on investments and working with a planner. I found that so much of financial success has to do more with our behaviors than it does with just interest rates or the investments that we choose. Both are important, but what's very important, especially if you have credit card debt, is those behaviors and systems that are going to put you into a position to be able to start investing and grow your wealth later on. What's more important than my credentials is that I've used this system for over 2 decades now to first pay off debt, and a lot of it after college, and then to build wealth and to make every financial decision with clarity. Things like buying cars, buying a house, planning for a bigger house or children's education, all of those things. And I want to share that with you. And so today we're going to start with 3 steps that you can take right now, today, to pay off that credit card debt in 2026. And if you stick around in this video, I'm going to give you some access to free tools and resources that you can use to do that. So let's start with the first thing. This is from a book called Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez. I love this book. There's so much in it, and I'm going to drastically oversimplify a point and just take one thing from it, but it's definitely a book that we all could read again and again and get a lot out of. And that is something from chapter 2. We want to keep track of every cent that comes into or goes out of our lives. It's the first thing I want to talk about today. Before we even start talking about changes that we're going to make, behaviors we're going to eliminate, things we're going to do differently, we have to have an accounting of what's actually happening to us financially. Meaning, you've got to take a look at what's actually coming in every paycheck. Where are you getting your income from? Exactly what that is. And then, of course, how much is going out? And I want you to separate that into 2 different things. First of all, your fixed expenses. Things like bills, like your rent, your car payment, your insurance, cell phone bill, home internet, utilities. I want you to get those fixed expenses into a place where you really understand what they are compared to your income. And the second part of that is discretionary spending. So I will call that food, gas, and entertainment. Those things that could change, those things that are kind of squishy in the sense that you have a lot of ability to impact those in every pay period. And I want you to look at this on a pay period basis. Look at what came in from a paycheck. Look at all those fixed expenses that went out from that paycheck, and then look at what you spend on food, gas, and entertainment. And how do you do that? Well, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So many good apps out there. I like Rocket Money, but there are others that are valuable as well. You can choose which one you want to use. I also would recommend, for starters, just get a blank spreadsheet and start to actually write down every single expense. And I know that can seem like a lot, but the more aware you are by making yourself write that down, the more in touch with that spending you're going to be. So you're going to go out, you're going to spend $10 maybe on some sort of groceries, and you need to actually go and plug that into a sheet and look at it the next day and realize that's what you spent. So step 1 is to keep track of every penny that comes into or goes out of your life. Step 2, and this is a really important one, and that is you need to put some sort of a limitation on your spending every pay period, like a hard stop. You need to make sure that whatever amount you set aside for your discretionary expenses, call it food, gas, and entertainment, all those things you can put in clothing, that's going to include your groceries. If you go to a restaurant, if you DoorDash, anything that you can affect that changes from pay period to pay period, you want to put a cap on that. Some people call this the envelope method, where they'll actually take cash and put it into envelopes in a drawer and only spend what's available in that envelope. I like to call it the sock drawer method, meaning I'm going to take a certain amount of money, tuck it away in the sock drawer, and that's all I get to spend for this pay period. Whatever you do, the most important thing is when you decide on a number that you want to spend, say it's $200 a paycheck, say it's $400 a paycheck, regardless of your income, it could be $1,000 a paycheck. That's the number that you have to hit. It will be very difficult for you to plan to pay off credit card debt if you don't have a handle on that discretionary spending. And I don't just mean, and we talked about in step 1, writing down what's going out and what's coming in. I'm talking about actually limiting yourself from spending any more. So say you've got a 2-week pay period and you've got $500 to spend. I'm talking about making sure that you hit that $500, whatever it takes. So you know you're going to have to budget. You've got 14 days to spend that $500. You're going to need groceries. You're going to need food somehow. And you're going to have to make some calls there. Do I DoorDash because I just don't have any food in the house and everybody's hungry? Or do I actually make the trip out to the grocery store? Do I try and find leftovers? Whatever it is. Do I get to the end of this pay period and realize I don't have any money left? There's this thing that I've been wanting to buy, whether it's clothing, some gadget, and you say, I can't do it this time. I've got this number that I'm going to spend. I'm sticking to that number no matter what. Whatever that is, step 2 here is to limit yourself, to force that limitation upon yourself. And the other thing that you can do, access to money. We live in a time where there is such access to credit and money out there. And it's so easy to overspend unless you're extremely deliberate about what you want to spend and how you're going to stop yourself from doing that. Now, this may sound crazy. I've gone as far as 15, 20 years ago. I would actually freeze my debit card in a block of ice, so I had to get to it. It was like a hairdryer in 2 hours to get back to it. I had a certain amount of cash. I was able to just spend that cash. Now, these days, I don't even know if you can do that. You kind of need some sort of a card to go spend, or you're going to tap your phone to spend. But you've got to find ways to limit yourself so that whatever number you decide on is the one that you can plan on hitting and get better and better and better at hitting that number over time. When you do that, you're going to be able to have much greater visibility into your financial future. And depending on how seriously you want to take this, and I would take it seriously, I still do personally, you've got to look at how much money you've got left every day. And you've got to decide if you're going to spend more than you thought, how are you going to get that? What are you going to do? You're going to sell something on Craigslist? You're going to turn in bottle deposits? If you're in a state where you can turn in cans and bottles for money, what are you going to do? Are you going to use old gift cards maybe that you can round up and spend $10 here and there on a gift card instead of that money that's coming out of your account? What are you going to do to make sure you hit that number? And I'll say one last thing about this. It is very difficult when you have a lot of credit card debt. And I know I've been there, to face it and to say, this debt is so overwhelming. Why do I start now? I can just put one more dinner on that credit card. I can just put one more round of drinks on that credit card. I can put one more item of clothing on that credit card because it feels hopeless. And to pay off your debt or get started in 2026, one of the things that you need to do right now is to say, I'm done with that mindset. I know I can do this. And I'm going to put a stop on this spending, and I'm going to put a limitation on this every 2 weeks. It's not hopeless. It may take me a long time, but I'm going to start to dig my way out, and I'm going to do that with this personal limitation. Okay, we're going to get to point 3 very quickly. I just want to say this is a very new channel. I appreciate you watching, and it would mean a lot to me if you take a minute to either like or subscribe to the channel. That'll allow me to keep making content like this and to deliver the education that I'm providing. Thanks so much if you're willing to do that. And by the way, if you have any questions about this, leave them in the comments. I'll get back to you. Okay, the third thing to do to pay off credit card debt in 2026. Well, we had the first thing, which is we were going to keep this account of every penny that's coming into or going out of our lives. And then we decided we're going to stop our spending at some point. We're going to set a number every pay period, and we are going to stick to that number no matter what. So then the next step is all in one place, all in one view. You want to have all of that information at a glance. And I would say you want that information to project out at least through 2026, but hopefully all the way through 2027. And I would go as far as to say, get that out 5 years, 10 years. The idea is you need some sort of plan that you can see and you can rely on every day, every week, every pay period that will show you how these actions are going to pan out for you over the next years. You need to know that this plan is going to work. So far, you know what's coming in, you know what's going out, you know how much you're going to spend in discretionary. And when you look at all of that, what does that mean for your financial future? How long will it take you to pay off your debt? How long will it take you to save a certain amount of money? And you should be able to see that. If I asked you in the next minute, could you tell me all that information? Most people would say no, they can't. But you should be able to say yes. Not only can I tell you exactly what I have coming in, what I have going out, what my balances are, but I should also be able to say, if I continue doing exactly what I'm doing and I execute on this plan, here's how that's going to result in the next year. Here's what it's going to look like in May. Here's what it's going to look like in August. Here's what it looks like in November. Here's what it looks like a year from November. And that should be available to you immediately. And you could be asking yourself right now, how am I supposed to do that? And here's the free thing that I have for you. So I have been using the same system, like I mentioned, for over 20 years. It's a spreadsheet-based system that does exactly that. It lets you look at all the information that we talked about today in one glance, at a glance view, longitudinally over the next year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, so that you can easily see what's coming in, what's going out, how much you're spending on discretionary, and then also, what are you putting toward your credit card? What do the balances look like over time? What are you putting into savings, and what do those balances look like over time? And I'd love to share that with you. My company, the Sheetkeeper Academy, teaches that by an online course. And right now, we're piloting that online course. It is available to you for free as of now, which is January 2026. I'm not going to say it'll be free forever, but it is right now. We'd love to get your feedback on the course. Now, this course is 10 modules. It takes you through exactly how to build the spreadsheet. And on top of that, it's going to give you free downloads so you can download the spreadsheet along the way. Make sure you're keeping up with the course. And if you're already really good with spreadsheets, you can just download it, use it as a template, and use it to project your future earnings, your future expenses, and see how that's going to result for you over the next year. And I think you'll really get a lot out of it. There's really no catch here. It's free for now. It won't always be free, but once you start using the spreadsheet and build it yourself, it'll be yours to keep forever in your Google account, and you can modify it any way that you want to. I'll put a link in the description, so it's really easy to get there. Just sign up and start the course, and you'll be able to do all of these things that we talked about today. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.